Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the Back Office Teardown Lab. You might have seen this in an unboxing video, but it's my Cumana Atari ST external floppy drive that I won on eBay, and it's marked as faulty. It's a CSA 354 made in 1989, and the owner of it said they didn't know what was wrong with it. It's just faulty on eBay. So before I even attempt to turn it on, let alone plug it into my Atari ST, I just thought I'd have a look under the hood, and I can see already the screws do have that sense of roundedness on them, so that's not good. But I do love this old school metal case. I mean, this is pretty sweet. I mean, it feels like you could refinish this, you know, you could paint these up, do what you like. The other screw didn't have a washer on it, this one does, and it's a serrated washer at that, so definitely someone's been having a little root around in here, but you never know what they were up to. Maybe they just did something simple like changing the drive, or maybe it was something complicated. But the first thing that hits me now looking at this, it is bonkers sauce. Ready? Look at the height of that drive. Bang! That is massive, and that's why it's held in with 4 screws underneath. Big old drive. So you've got the power supply, you've got a fuse in there, on-off switch, proper on-off switch like you used to get back in the day on a lot of goods. And the fuse has got a nice cap on it. So my first thing in my mind is saying, okay, my notion is to get the fuse uncovered so we can have a little check to see if at least that's intact. I mean, I can see the filament in there, but we do have our probes. Let's put our meter onto BPB. Figure out a good way of doing all this one day. Fuse is good. So pop that back down there, nice and safe. Now, the thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it on without being connected to an Atari ST. In fact, I'm kind of tempted to remove these, which are the power wires, and I'll have to get the spec to be exact, you know, to really understand what we're expecting on the drive end, but we'll just see what we see right now, just to see if it's even sensible. So plugging it in. I'm getting my meter ready here, because I don't want to really mess with it too much once it's kind of live. So we're putting it on AC right now. Flip this around so you guys can play along at home with a little screen there. So we're on AC, please. We've got them on our terminals on our power switch. Worrying that I'm seeing 25 volts here. I don't know if there's a weird scaling going on. Let's unplug that. Let's see what's going on here. The power's coming in. And it's going to the bottom of the switch, and then it's coming out through these very 2 thin wires, and we are unplugged, by the way. Let's do total sanity check. Neutral is outboard. Come on, you pesky critter. That does not want to release there. Sometimes it's worth just leaving it well alone, isn't it? But that doesn't normally stop me, so I'm going to force the issue. Got it. So there's our live and neutral right there. Not damaged. Fortunately, not damaged by my vicious attack on it. So don't use your fingers anywhere near the metalwork, please. There, 238 of our British volts, as expected. So we're good. We're fused. The cable is good to this point. We're going to plug it back in, hopefully correctly. That's good, and that's good there. So I always thought there's a neon in these things. Let's just keep it on its end this time. Oh yeah, there is a neon right there. So is that off? On. Okay. So we're going to put our meter again now onto DC. And we're going to, remember this is live now, be careful. Just going to have a look at this just to see kind of where we're going with their wiring. Oh! Could a fault have been found already? Look at this green wire. Looks like a neutral or a 0 volt wire not connected to the chassis. Okay, interesting. It's a bit of a jumble of a mess really, but they've got these sort of ground coloured wires and they're sort of just looping around, going where they want. I'm going to unpower this. I think we need to show you, have a little zoom in to discover what's going on here. So have a look in there. You can see there's a mess of wires, and then you've got these contacts that go on the end of the drive, and look, they're actually all soldered on and heat shrunk, which is very unusual really. It's clearly a kind of a, and it goes actually straight onto the end of this cable. So we could actually work out the pinouts we want and be able to wire in the drive. And then they've got the basically the power wires that are coming from here, and you've got, I think it looks like to me, this nomenclature on the colours means that you've got 2 grounds and you've got 2 outer ones, and sometimes it's maybe a 5 volts and a 12, but I'll have to check. I'll have to check the specs. You know, I'm just guessing at this point. I don't know drives too much. In fact, I can see the PCB. You have 2 0 volts, you have a 12 volts, and you have a 5 volts. So the pink is a 5 volts, and that's the outer wire, and the purple is a 12 volts, and that's the inner wire. And you're supposed to have 2 0 volts, but only one is connected. So I think that's probably our answer. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off the camera for a moment and dismantle it enough so we can make the repair. But just to see, again, let's not jump the gun. We can plug our power wire back in. Let's just see if the drive does anything though, at all, when we power it up. So that's in, but not on. And now it's on. There's no light or anything like that, is there? But what we can do, and I'm going to be again cautious with this, is I can try to see. It's kind of like holding wires where I don't really want to hold them near this mains thing, but we can see the 0 volt area is down there. So I'm just going to hold this wire like so, taking care not to put my fingers anywhere where there's going to be bloody mains current, which is pretty much everywhere here. In fact, I'm just jamming that wire down. Right, so it's jammed in where it should be. I'm holding this quite gingerly again. I don't like surprises. There's no light, or is there? No, I'm going to say there's no light there. I'm just going to turn this gently. It wasn't on. It wasn't on. I'm going to turn it off. On. Yeah, still no sign of life though. That's not a good sign. But what can we do? We know before we're going to try it in our Atari SE anyway, we're going to want all of those connections sorted. But before that we do that, then the last bit then is just to check. We'll leave it powered on. Again, powered, plugged in, powered on. Yeah, lights on. And we'll just check that those power rails to the drive. DC volts are measuring. Now we know one of these grounds doesn't work, so let's just try. If at first we don't succeed, try the other ground. So we're expecting a 0, a 5 and a 12, and the 12 is going to be the purple wire, which is supposed to be this one. And I'm not seeing anything. It's not looking good anyway. Nope. So we're going to strip this down. I got it flipped open, and I basically had a little wiggle of all of the connectors and solder joints, and the thing was working. There was power. The 12 volts and 5 volts is there. So you've basically got a 7805 here and a 7812 right here next to it. So those are doing the regulation for the drive. So it's really simple. They're two in there. You can just swap those out. Measure it's normally input ground out pin wise. So check the volts on those. If you don't have 5 volts from this one or 12 volts from this one, just literally check the inputs and swap them if they're in tolerance. The earth, I didn't want to get to the PCB because it was just a pain in the arse. So what I did is I just tacked it onto this I buzzed it out. They're common to this line here, which is on this nut, so I've just soldered onto that bit of bare contact wire that was there. So when I power it on, in fact it is live now, you can actually, it is live, I've got to be careful where I'm poking my finger, but you can see when I turn the drive on, it is doing something. So I think it's definitely worth hooking this up to the Atari ST now and seeing if there's really life in the old dog there. Look, there's a bit of current there. What's the word? A word up. Really interesting here. This side screw is actually a screw in the side of the drive. Brilliant. Brilliant design. Almost made by hobbyists for hobbyists. They made the drives for everybody back in the day. I wonder if all these drives are kind of the same. You know, just maybe I could put a regular sort of floppy drive connector on that and try a 1.44 megabyte drive. Ooh, 1.44 megal drive, double density. Sorry, double-sided high density. That's what we want. Right, onwards to the Atari ST. And now the fruits of my labour. Hurrah! Yes, I've put a cover disk into this drive. I've got my Gotek here, but there's no floppy in it, so floppy A would be dead. And all I do now is hit my floppy B, and it seems to work fine. So good. Oh, that sound. Enjoy it. Oh, it stopped. Bit of the usual grinding sound. So yeah, that works pretty well. I'm very pleased. So that was, I think, £26 I paid all in. £26. £26 for a working one I think is a fine price. £26 for a broken one? Yeah. But then they're not on eBay every day. So I think at the end of that process, I'm quids in. So the last thing I'm going to do, not probably in this video, but in a future one, I kind of like the idea of being able to switch the A and the B's round. So that's something I'm going to have to look into so I can boot from this, because some ST cover discs and games want to boot from drive A. So I want to treat this as a drive A at some point and not the Gotek. But there we go. That's me for now. As ever, my friends, thank you for watching.